Hey guys, welcome back. Watch this with Joe and Kevin, minus Joe again. Kevin here to watch episode 5 of the first season of The Sopranos, which I've never seen any of before. Um, it was suggested on Patreon that Joe be here to watch this because apparently this is a pretty monumental episode. He even suggested 2 weeks ago he wanted to watch this episode with me. The reason he's not here is we're actually recording a day early because Joe is out of town this evening and going to get back late tomorrow. We normally record tomorrow morning. But we basically did the 3 shows that we normally do on a Wednesday, Tuesday today, and then he scooted out of town. So that's why he couldn't be here. He definitely wanted to. So it is just me flying solo. As far as where we left off, what was really a solid episode last time was uh, Jackie died, which marks the fourth straight episode where we've had a character die on this show. But this is the first one that wasn't actually murdered, in service of the life. Um, so we didn't actually have a murder victim for the first time in the first 4 episodes. I don't know if that trend's going to continue or not. I don't know if someone dies in this one. But Dr. Malfi makes a suggestion when Tony's in therapy, talking about how a lot of his headaches come from his mother Lydia and from Uncle Junior, and she said, "Let them feel like they're in charge." I think she was speaking mostly about, as I recall, about Lydia. Like, let your mom feel like she's in charge. Treat her like a kid. Don't we let kids feel like they're winning sometimes just to get what we need out of them? And so he does. He lets Junior kind of take over. It looks like we're heading for a war when Jackie dies between Junior and Tony for who's going to be in charge. And it looks at like factions immediately showing up. And Tony decided to go ahead and let Junior have the title in exchange for more money making properties, it sounds like. One of them a union, and I can't remember what the other one was. And the whole point was he was following Dr. Malfi's advice there, in that let Junior feel like he's running things, which is what all he really wants anyway. And Tony gets to stay with the heat off of him from being in charge, all the headaches that come along with that, all the danger that comes along with it, and he takes some of Junior's money making power away from him for himself. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, Tony decides he's okay without the title, as long as the business still runs for him the way he needs it to, and in fact gets sweetened a little bit. So Tony, Tony's in a good mood. He thinks about quitting therapy, but decides, he says, which is kind of funny, I get great suggestions here. Now, the reason I bring it up for me is I don't expect this to be a permanent solution. I don't know what happens. Junior's an old guy. He is, I think less capable than Tony and more insecure than Tony. But I don't feel like he's like stupid. I think that at some point he's going to figure out that he's been left with the headaches and none in exchange for the title, but none of the like real perks that come with it. I think there's a real possibility that everybody still goes to Tony anyway, because Tony's probably kind of like the de facto leader without the title, which would ruffle Junior's feathers a lot. Um, I simply don't think this is a long-term solution that Tony thinks it is. Otherwise, this is a different show. But we will go and jump into it. If you're catching this on YouTube, in the description below, there's a link to our Patreon page, and you can get full-length reactions to this show and lots of other things. I won't go into too much detail there. You get it. You've been on these channels. Like, comment, subscribe. By the way, how many people do you know that have spelled college with an A? Collage. I'm smart. I went to collage. Does the World Trade Center disaster happen in the world of the show? Like, is it a thing that like is on the news, or you know, the family's talking about or something? I love the camera work in this show, by the way.
Dad, how come you didn't finish college?
Grandma and Grandpa didn't stress college. They were working class.
It's probably true. Yeah. Well, I mean, not the working class people part.
I got into a little trouble when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
She has something
Are you
on
in the
her
mafia?
mind. Oh my God, she came right out with
Am I
it.
in a what?
It's a fair question.
I've
Yeah,
seen
she's not
police come
dumb.
with warrants. I've seen you going out at 3 in the morning. Did the Cusimano kids ever find $50,000 in Krugerrands and a .45 automatic while they were hunting for Easter eggs?
Oh, that's funny.
Some of my money comes from illegal gambling and whatnot.
Finally told the truth about this?
I really like this conversation, how it's written and how it's being executed.
Part of my income comes from legitimate businesses.
It's actually a waste management company.
Yes, and a wife, whenever you want. What do I have in my life?
Boy, am I glad I called.
Is this like a running bit for the whole show that Tony has these beautiful Russian women like all the way through? Because we keep changing the cast of them. I assume he's got a litany of them.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Better, actually. Fever just broke.
He called her
I miss
first
you,
before he
too.
called his wife.
How's the interviews going?
He knows the guy because that guy looked like he knew him. Is he going to chase him with with his daughter in the car?
Okay, what's the rush?
Is the guy that owes Tony money or something? Or, like, maybe this isn't the time.
I think I saw an old friend, that's all.
You know that guy at the gas station?
Why is he doing this with her in the car? This isn't a phone call and do this later thing.
Hello, our motel's right there.
Yeah, let her out of the car and keep going, but don't take her.
Anthony, why don't you go over to Jason's? Play Nintendo.
I'll be back in like an hour.
Okay.
Hey, I'm not sure, but I think I just saw Fabian Petrulio. Maid guy, he flipped about 10 years ago and he got busted for peddling H.
So he's in like witness protection then.
As a matter of fact, you know that bus that was in his rec room with Sinatra? Febby made it for him in a prison workshop.
Father Phil. Just a second.
Okay, this is weird, right? Am I the only one thinking this is weird that she's making herself look better while she's sick because the priest has decided to pop over during a thunderstorm?
I
The
have a
handhelds
Jones
going around
for you,
him?
Baked Ziti.
Oh, sure, anytime.
How's Med and Tony's trip going?
Oh, I should know. He doesn't have time to talk to me for 2 lousy minutes.
So he comes over during this storm at night, knowing before he goes that Tony and Meadow are out of town. This just feels weird.
You're definitely up to something.
Oh,
Yeah.
how'd you get so cynical?
Yeah.
What about your brother? Does he know?
Think so.
Maybe being a rebel in my family would have been selling patio furniture on Route 22.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's a really good point.
A couple of weeks ago, me and some friends, we were doing speed.
Why did you tell me?
Because I'm feeling close to you and you
You were
confess
honest
something to
with me
me.
today.
Yeah.
Boy, this Chianti, though, is beyond reproach. Word up.
This feels flirty. I don't know. It's probably not, but maybe I'm just that cynical too.
They go to Colby.
Yeah? Why don't you hang out with him?
Well,
Go ahead.
Yeah. She can't tell he's trying to get rid of you.
Frederick Peters. Fabian Petrulio. Good match, huh?
I guess. I don't know.
What do you have to do to get kicked out of the federal witness protection program, by the way? Is it just like risk blowing your cover or break laws?
Who can I say is calling?
This is Dr. Melfi?
His nurse?
No, is this Mrs. Soprano? To tell him that I need to reschedule Monday's appointment. I'm down with the flu.
Does he have your number, Jennifer?
Oh, the timing of this while she has a priest over.
Why couldn't he tell me his therapist is a woman? What is he hiding?
Maybe he did
See,
tell you, and
I
you
knew
didn't
this
hear
was
him
coming.
clearly.
Yeah.
Daddy's gonna come too, sweetie. We'll both put you to bed.
hurry, Daddy.
So this guy's going to be paranoid because he knows somebody was there and he knows Tony saw him earlier. Which means that's probably the guy. Is this going to be our first episode where Tony actually kills somebody?
If you take everything Jesus ever said, add it up, it only amounts to 2 hours of talk.
No. Like the sun rises on the just and the unjust alike? Why? Well, let's face it, Father, we got some major contradictions here.
That's really funny because you're a mafia wife complaining about who gets to go to heaven or not.
Well, I know you love that DVD player. I just got Remains of the Day. See? Do I know you?
She have a Remains of the Day lunchbox.
Father Phil, I didn't know you looked.
What? To take in through the eyes a beautiful woman?
Okay, this is not just me. This is okay. I thought I was being weird, but this is weird. Okay, I feel vindicated.
Listen, Tank, anybody been looking for me or asking any questions about me?
Or yeah, he's totally him.
Well, if he shows up, you want me to give you a call?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Do that, thanks.
He did it and got the lips wrong.
Hello, Red.
Oh. So now you call the other guys up, I guess. Go on call to business with your daughter. Oh no.
How long has it been since you last confessed? If you like, I can do this with you. He hears and sees everything.
Does he see you kind of making a move on a married woman?
Allowing my children, oh my God, my sweet children, to be a part of it.
This guy has to know what Tony is, right? Like, this isn't a shock to him.
I think he has committed horrible acts. It's just a matter of time before God compensates me with outrage for my sins.
Oh, what a cut to this guy. Like Meadows in danger now. Wow, this guy sucks.
You're not mad, are you, Daddy?
Little bit.
I gave them to you.
Supposed to
He
be.
was going to shoot him right there in front of Meadow.
I think you should take communion. I am not worthy to receive thee.
I'm assuming that was holy water he added to the wine. I'm unfamiliar with all of this. Interesting cut there. This has to be the most awkward evening hang in the history of awkward evening hangs.
The way this went down, this is my call.
Why are you using the payphone again?
These walls are like paper. They want to wake you up.
Interesting, we're drinking on both ends. The only one not drinking is Tony.
Hello? Oh, hi, honey. You want to sleep over there?
Okay, that look he just gave. Oh my god, he's gonna do this.
Oh. Are you all right?
Yeah, the blood of Christ is not agreeing with his choices here. Okay, that's surveillance again. He's watching it.
All right, I'll pick you up in a little while. You knock them dead.
Aren't you coming in?
No, I left my watch at the motel.
Then the peel out. He's on a mission.
We didn't do anything out of line.
There's nothing to apologize about.
My car's been out there all night in plain sight.
If we didn't do anything wrong, we didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, it's so awkward now.
Last night was one of the most difficult tests from God ever for me.
What are you talking about? We're friends.
You follow him. An hour out of town, you pull up alongside, boom, 12 gauge. Lon, you do what I ask, so you'll never get another bag off me.
Oh my god. So he's still dealing. Just went to work. He has no idea Tony knows where he works. The way they're lingering here, I think Tony's probably there. This is shot so well. This is very tense, the way we're just getting his POV. Tony could be behind him at any point. So you're just so tight on him. Yeah.
Good morning, Rat.
Thought he'd be safe. Oh god, what a visceral shot. Wow. Tony hasn't killed anybody in the first 4 episodes, and in the 5th one, when he does, it's really up close and personal and visceral. Bringing the ducks back on this. Wow.
Your hand is bleeding. Dad, where did you go? You saw that man, didn't you?
You don't know. You're making a big deal out of this, and you don't know.
You were on the payphone again last night at 1 o'clock in the morning.
You can't be trusted to remember what happened last night because you were seeing pink elephants.
Gaslighting is not going to work here.
You're being honest with me, right?
Pretty soon here, you're going to start hurting my feelings.
I'm thinking back in the waiting room for therapy. I'm going to look one stare one of the pictures.
You still sound a little nasal, but you look better.
Want to talk about Dr. Melfi now?
He spent the night here.
Yeah, right.
Oh, this is
Okay.
a get back at him thing.
What'd you guys do for 12 hours? Play, Name That Pope?
He gave me communion. Your therapist called.
Yeah.
Jennifer?
Oh, come on! It's just therapy, that's all. We just talk.
And it's true. But he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. He hasn't earned it. Wow. Okay, that actually was a banger of an episode, wasn't it? Well, there's a lot to process there. We didn't get a lot of the characters. I know their stories kind of took a backseat in this one. It was kind of four of them, really, of the central characters: Tony with Meadow and Carmela with the priest. Um, and Father mentioned them. But at any rate, um, yeah, I feel a little vindicated in thinking it was weird that the guy was over and spent the whole night and came over because he knew Tony was out of town and perked up when he heard that AJ was going to be spending the night elsewhere. So it would just be the two of them. Like it felt weird before that. It felt weird relatively quickly. Like I just thought I'd pop over and have some try. So he had some ziti for me and maybe some wine. Oh, and by the way, I know that Tony and Meadow were out of town. It felt weird. And it had to. We had the point where the father knocked on the door, and Carmela went in the bathroom and tidied herself up. Which I got to be honest with you, if a priest showed up at my house, even if it was my priest and I was active in the church and I was sick, he'd see sick me. Um, that'd be kind of it. Um, so obviously there was at least some entertainment of looking attractive for the priest early. So that was odd. Um, it was interesting that early on we had Tony being honest when Meadow asked him straight up, if he's in the mafia, and he was a little bit honest, which he appreciated, but that of course immediately disappeared when Peter shows up, right? That he's right back to lying to her and being deceitful, and at the end I couldn't tell really if she bought it, she just decided to go along with it. But I think she knows how weird all that was. The dirty shoes, the bleeding hand, chasing the guy, running away and leaving her alone on the college visit. So, and we of course have to look at how this was shot too. So many moving handheld camera shots that really got intimate with all of the characters. For what really was a very intimate episode. I mean, in the most intimate close-ups were Carmela taking communion from the priest and the zoom ins on Tony killing Peter. Or I can't remember what his actual name was, but the name he was using was Peter because it kept showing up in all the businesses. But those were like the extreme close shots were those kind of two things. Carmela trying to be a better person and Tony showing that he's not. Um, which also gets, of course, juxtaposed at the end when Carmela tells Tony about the priest because she has nothing to hide. But Tony obviously never confessed about Dr. Melfi being a woman because he felt like he did have something to hide. Um, I don't know if that's kind of foreshadowing the fact that Tony might develop feelings down the road for Dr. Melfi. It is not unheard of, right? She's a good listener and give him good advice, and he can unburden himself to her, and that can be mistaken for attraction or turned into attraction or whatever. Um, but yeah, this kind of sets up that some stuff moving forward. The tension between Tony and Carmela is going to be at an all-time high for thus far on the show, anyway. And Meadows' distrust of Tony, and the admission that he is in fact, yeah, mob ties, however you want to put it, and how Tony is with Dr. Melfi because we got it revealed again how he's was kind of hiding that from his wife, to where there might be something else burgeoning, but maybe not. And also, what is the priest role now in both Tony's life? Because he felt like he wanted to be, active in it, in bringing Tony into the light. But after what happened with the entirety of the evening, he may have lost Carmela too. And it would be pretty warranted, I would feel like, after that. So a lot of questions moving forward, and we really only focused on those four people. I'm assuming Tony's going to be a big hero for taking care of this rat, which might complicate his status as being lower level below Junior, when he's going to look like a hero to all of his cohorts for taking care of this issue. Really excited to see what happens next with all of this. But again, I didn't catch who directed this episode, but man, was it shot well. Really kinetic, close-up filmmaking that really just kept the story like really energetic. Yeah, it was a really good one. I see why everyone really liked this episode. All right, I will catch you on the next one, guys. Thank you.